all wrong. That's not how we pronounce our words, our letters, our sounds. Our sound, like I said, is the root sound. The root sound for our language is ah. Now, if we look over here in this list on the left, that's supposed to be ancient Shemitic Hebrew, it's all wrong as well. First letter sound, they say is L, Bet, Gam, Dal, Hay. That's supposed to be ancient Shemitic Hebrew, it's all wrong as well. First letter sound, that's supposed to be ancient Shemitic Hebrew, it's all wrong as well. That's supposed to be ancient Shemitic Hebrew, it's all wrong as well. That's supposed to be ancient Shemitic Hebrew, it's all wrong as well. First letter sound, they say is L, Bet, Gam, Dal, Hay, Wa. Wrong. That's wrong. Zan, Ket, Tet, Yad, Kap, Lam, Mim, Nun, Sin, Ga, Pe, Zad, Kup, Resh, Shin, Ta, and Ga. All wrong. Okay, the only ones the only ones in the list that are correct is the last one, and that's supposed to be Ga. That ah sound is correct. Now, when I started doing my studying and my researching, I already knew instinctively that I had to return to what came before this crap that you see now, because this mess that you see now is used to cover over the truth. This is why you really should not deal with a so-called Bible that is a very recent translation, because that covers over what came before it. So it's like uncovering layers and layers of dirt, right? Because we're digging for hidden treasure. Deeper you dig. It's the same way with the language. This is why you really should not deal with a so-called Bible that is a very recent translation, because that covers over what came before it. So it's like uncovering layers and layers of dirt, right? Because we're digging for hidden treasure. Deeper you dig. It's the same way with the language. We have to dig. We have to search. We can't deal with what's on the surface. This right here is surface. It's all false. Now, I have a book that was written, I think, in 1830. Well, I don't know when it was written. It was published. The published date is 1838 or 1835. And I'm going to refer to that to show you. We're basically going to compare that to this list. You're going to see some changes. So let's go down this list here. Note the differences. Note the first letter is not the al. It is ad. First letter is ad, and it means a man. Now I'm going to say these sounds with the ah sound, the root sound of our language. Ah, ba, da. Right? Those are the sounds. So let's go down the list here. First one is ad. Second one is bat. Third, ga. Dao. Ha. Now this letter, this next letter here, in the modern, the foreigners, okay, those Anglo-Saxons, Germans, English, all those people, they have switched the sound, and they put V's here. Now there are at least two letters that are substituted with the V. In our language, they substitute, Germans, English, all those people, they have switched the sound, and they put V's here. Now there are at least two letters that are substituted with the V. In our language, they substitute V for B. Okay, V is in vegetable for B. So they remove the B sound and they replace it with the V as in vegetable. For example, in our writings, there's a place that's called Tel Aviv with a B sound. But the foreigners removed the B sound and replaced it with a V sound. They call it Tel Aviv.
So Tel Aviv. So like Ha Ha Abib or Ha Habib if it was a V. So B was a B prior. So before that was B.
As in a very ridiculous mistake. They also replaced the oo sound in our language. Okay, the U, which is basically two U's, and then they replace the single U with their V. So this letter here should be uo, which is where woe comes from. It's not U with their V. So this letter here should be uo, which is letter here should be uo. Letter here should be uo, which is where.
So this letter here should be u a u. So ha u a u. So no, not Hawa. It's ha u a u. So no, not Hawa. Because we're going back to the root, right? Ha u a u. Not Hawa. Ha u a u. What do I know? Just surfing the wave.
Our language. Okay, the U, which is basically two U's, and then they replace the single U with their V. So this letter here should be uo, which is where woe comes from. It's not vab, it's uo. It's also where yo. Okay, that's where the O sound comes from. So you'll discover that a lot of our consonants are actually used as vowels. But the vowels that you see today were not written by our people. They were derived from our letters by foreigners. Whole nother thing there. So whenever we use these long vowel sounds, it deals with active participation. So our people said kumbaya. Ya comes from I. Okay, so you have the I and then you have the ya. Ya basically means deals with active participation. So our people said kumbaya. Ya comes from I. Baya. Ya comes from I. Baya. Ya comes from I. Okay, so you have the I and then you have the ya. Ya basically means the right hand. Aya. So that's for the
So
aya.
it means the right hand. We would say this when we praise him. Kumbaya, kumbaya. We would say that when we want, when our war chants, when we're trying to invoke him to help us. We said it a lot, didn't we?
Comes from in kumbaya. I is the mind, the brain itself that is
The
actively
mind,
causing you to do.
the brain.
I. Obviously, also means to see.
To see, I see, I see.
So in order to I, we have to actively notice something.
Actively notice.
And engaging
Ha
what it is, what's going on
u
with
a
it.
u.
To see.
Not
To
Hawa.
actively see. Because a lot of people can look at stuff and don't see it. Hey, did you see that? No, I didn't see that. It went right past me. Ya, that's the right hand. Aya. Kumbaya. So our people were asking the Most High, surround us with a wall of protection. Come down.
Come down, we were saying.
Bye. Put us in a place to cover us. I actively see what's happening to us. Put us in a place of protection. That's by. Ya, with your right hand. Kumbaya. Another example I want to give is it just caused us to forget our enemies. But the letter ka, kayu, from kaya, in our language, it should be a
So,
ch
ka,
in the pronunciations. Kayu.
kayu.
From kaya.
like
which is where the word
Haya
kayak
incorporated inside.
comes from. You know
Kayak,
what a
and
kayak
what is so important to us? Isn't our kayaks important to us? Because isn't that our mode of transportation? Isn't that like our lifesaver when we're on the waters? That's our everything, right? Kayak. I'm just trying to bring out the, how much that's incorporated. Yeah.
a boat. Let me put the and then of course her name was changed. It would mean that a man would have an opposite or dual of himself. When the Most High made the first man, he made a double of him, but she was his opposite. His name was Ada, her name was Amma. When you put the two together, of course, you get the name Adam, but they tricked you there too. And of course, in some cultures, they call her Anna with an N. And then, of course, her name was changed.
I don't know. It said Anna. I was just wondering how the Queen of Heaven also goes by Ainana, Ainana in Anna. Or the Anat, I, Nana, so Anna. You see how Anna's there? And that's what they called her. Or
Oh. The other way to say that is Shoata, Ashoa. You know what a Shoa is? It means to destroy, to lay to waste, to devastate, or ruin. Another way in English to say it simply is to kill. Ashoa. And that is what the verse is actually telling us. But in this time that you live, remember, we were invaded. I've said many times that the word Haya in our language, another way to say it is Ahaya, a negative is Hiya. Because someone asked me about it, and I said, well, we use it sometimes, as an invocation, but it's a verb, to incite
we use it,
action. So
we use it as a invocation, but it's a verb, right? So what does it mean to invoke? Because that's what they say, right? Or we use it as an invocation. So what does it mean to invoke? To invoke, it means to call on. So I'm calling on what, the name of the creator? If you call on somebody, what are you gonna call on them by? Wouldn't you call on them by their names? So invoke means to call on for assistance, support, or inspiration. To appeal to, I'm appealing to you, creator. Please help me. Help me find justice. To call earnestly. Oh, please, Haya. To summon, to incant, to conjure. Are we trying to summon, to have the creator help us in these dire times? Right? So that's what invoke means. So we just look at the verbs. But every time I get this many screens on, they don't want to let me see anything. So if you look at this, if we go down, a verb may also agree with the person, gender, or number of some of its arguments, such as its subject or object. Verbs have tenses: present to indicate that an action is being carried out, past to indicate that an action has been done, future to indicate an action will be done. Um, I think it's down here. Verbs vary by type. Each type is determined by the kinds of words that accompany it and the relationship those words have with the verb itself. classified by the number of their valency arguments. Usually, three basic types are distinguished: intransitives, transitives, distransitives, and double transitive verbs. Some verbs have special grammatical uses and hence complements such as copular verbs, i.e., be, the verb do, used for do support in questioning and negation, and tense or aspect auxiliaries, e.g., be, have, or can. In addition, verbs can be non-finite, namely. So verbs can be namely. So if I'm using a verb, I could also be the name of the creator, since verbs also can be namely. Right? So that's all we're doing, invoking his name. Isn't that what is being said? Huh?
It says, Urahatel Haya. Remember what we said about the right hand that strikes?
The right hand.
Haya.
Haya.
See, for our people, the
He
right
does
hand,
it.
is typically
What is the
associated.
Ten Commandments? Huh? What does he say in the Bible? He does good. He does the evil. It's none but him. He he he's the judge.
Good things. So for our people, our ancestors would never greet someone with the left hand. Not unless you are letting that person know, I don't trust you, I don't like you, I consider you an enemy. So you greet them with the left hand. When we greet people as welcome, we use our right hand. So it says here, right, do not use the right hand, the hand of goodness, to do evil. That's how
It says, do not use the right hand, the creator, to do evil. Do not do evil in my name.
that's how the thought would be brought across in our language. That's how I guess you would say it in English. Do not use the right hand of good to do evil. And then it tells things. But those letters have so many more meanings than that. So let's take a look at Yad or Yod. Now, when I deal with our language, I typically do not fool around with the so-called modern Hebrew, because that that form of what they call Hebrew, the Gentiles call Hebrew, really isn't. It's a mishmash of Gentile speak. So you got German, Yiddish mixed all up in there. So I always go back to the Paleo Hebrew, which they call the ancient Hebrew. Um, and I'm going to give the meaning of the first letter for Yah. The first letter for Yah, throw and worship. And then, of course, if we type in YD into our language dictionary, it tells you that YD means strife.
Oh yeah, it means strife. Oh, strife.
Of course, our picture glyphs denote this with the arm and the closed hand with the fist. This with the arm means strife. Of course, our picture glyphs denote this with the arm.
So the picture glyphs that are older denote that. So where's we just denoting everything, right? Ha u a u, na Hawa, and the picture guy saying no, it's not, doesn't mean strife. No, stop perverting. It doesn't mean strife. That's what it just said, right? Let's just continue. It's gonna be short. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, so it's gonna be really short, as short as possible.
So in that way, the word Yah is not wicked, it is not evil.
So it's not wicked, it's not evil. Yeah, Yah means disobedience, but Haya is a whole different ball game, because you're putting the masculine Ha in front of it, and you're not. It's a different spelling. It's Haya, and it has a marking over the A's to create a longer sound, a different sound.
And it can also be used in war chants. So I'm going to get to that part. But what I want to do is I want to take a look at the last. Um,
So it's
so
it's
far,
used in war chants and praising.
that is a part
It's
of.
used in
Um,
all different
it's a
types
part
of
of who
things.
we
It
are.
means to be, to
So
become,
please enjoy War Cries, and I'll be talking as well.
to be. Hawa. So once again, look at Eve. Says like most of the explanation of names in Genesis is probably based on folk etymology or an imaginative playing with sound. In Hebrew here, the phonetic similarity is between Hawa, Eve, and the verbal root. The verbal root, Haya, to live. Right? It has been proposed as between Hawa, Eve, and the verbal root, Haya, to live. We all know that with the H at the end, that means the breath, but Haya is the Creator Himself. I don't know. I'm still holding on that Hawa because if you understand the Polynesia, they had got caught up in this. After 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and speak peacefully words unto them. But all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when we had taken the spoils of the city, he had set on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof every side. But the women and children took they captive, and possessed the cattle. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, with mighty towers, and made a stronghold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, fortified themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, so that they became a sore snare. For it was the place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, an evil adversary of Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her. And her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mournings, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. Don't fuck with me now. And as had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should have my laws, not your laws. You will adopt my laws. To all the heathen agreed, for all you have agreed to follow my laws. According to the king, ye also of the Israelites consented of his religion. So even our people said, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to sacrifice unto idols, profane the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messages into Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Now, if you look at Hawaii, the strange laws of the land. Let's see how long they're gonna let me use this information before they start shutting down pages. Let's go. I'm gonna hang out all day. So this says that support this theory. The common ancestry of all Austronesian languages, of which the Polynesian languages form a major subgroup, as well as the Austronesian language families, but Malo-Polynesian existing only in Taiwan. Support this theory. The sweet potato, which is of South American origin, is widely cultivated in Polynesia, indicating that some interaction between the Polynesian and American Indians of South America must have taken place. So we got caught up in all of this stuff, and that's how we started worshiping idols. Here, let me finish reading. Okay? So, moreover, and sacrifice and unto idols and profane the Sabbath, for the king had sent letters by messages unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid the burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary of the holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh. We never eat swine. We was healthy. But boy, did we eat swine the past couple hundred years. And we think we've always eaten swine. But no, no, that was unclean to us. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised. Didn't we circumcise? Right? And didn't some southern Polynesian cultures who got caught up in this and brought this to Hawaii, didn't they not circumcise? Didn't they do all of these things? Didn't we start making tattoos? Didn't we start worshiping many gods, making idols? Didn't we start perverting all the laws in the Polynesian area at this time? Didn't we turn from the Creator and go to Mother Earth? Don't we love Pele and all of this, all the deities? We try to make them women, and then we empower the women, saying that all the women this and that. Yeah, we all know that the men were chiefs, the men ruled. The women weren't nothing. The women were right by our sides. Every strong man has a strong woman. She's the backbone. But she wasn't leading everything. And in the more recent times, yes, we were perverted into switching our gender responsibilities, and we were out of our our natural state, and it all started with instances like this where we were perverted And so what happened was the South Pacific Islanders had got caught up in this, and they went throughout all of Polynesia, conquering lands, and doing this worshiping. Hawaiian historians would tell you that we never have idol worship till 1250 when the Tahitians